For the first time in elective history in the Republic of Kenya, we have 55 presidential candidates. Add up to the running mates, we have 110 people that require immediate security from the government of the Republic of Kenya, because in the unfortunate event that any of them dies, we postpone an election for 90 days. This will be a very big burden on the taxpayer.
The rise of independence and what this means, also quite interesting trend we are witnessing there. We'll also be letting you in on what the head of state had to say today at the 4th Regional Conference of International Association of Prosecutors in Mombasa County. A comprehensive news bulletin that is lined up for you. But first, let's begin with our top stories.
It's a first in Kenya. IBC clears 55 candidates to contest for presidency in the August 9th general election. Fighting crime. President Uhuru Kenyatta calls African nations to collaborate in tackling organized crime. And on the campaign trail, Martha Karua hits ground running as presidential hopefuls keep voters busy. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lensa Odingo. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Welcome to the broadcast.
All right, and my name is Serfine Achieng Oma. Once again, you can interact with us on social media at KBC Channel 1, and of course, use the hashtag Prime Edition. Let's begin the bulletin now.
All right, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has gazetted the names of 35 individuals seeking the presidency as independents.
The commission has also cleared 74 candidates seeking gubernatorial seats as independents.
Kenya will have a historic ballot paper in the August 9th general election after IEBC cleared 55 individuals to seek the presidency, 40 as independent candidates. 244 gubernatorial aspirants have also been given the green light to be at the ballot, 167 sponsored by political parties and 77 as independent. In a Gazette notice dated May 13, 2022, IEBC noted that all the candidates had submitted their symbols for ease of identification by voters on election day. Nandi County will have the longest gubernatorial ballot paper after 7 independent candidates were cleared, followed by Nairobi, which has 6, Meru, Kisumu, Trans Nzoia and Nakuru have 5 independent candidates, while Kiambu, Baringo and Taita have 3 each. The commission has also gazetted the names of 95 female independent aspirants seeking to be elected as county women representatives in the National Assembly, while 748 individuals have been given the green light to vie for 290 parliamentary elective seats as independent candidates. In the county assembly, the commission cleared 4,738 individuals to square it out for the 1,450 county assembly slots across the country. Gospel musician Ruben Kigame, activist Nazlin Omar, and former cabinet minister Joe Nyaga's son Jeremiah Nyaga are among the notable candidates seeking the presidency as independents. For Prime Edition, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
Obviously, the big question is how many of them will make it to the ballot finally, because IBC has to gazette them at some point when they present their nomination papers, and there is a fee to pay, probably. That's the only hope of making them lesser.
But there must be, quite some deep message that we should be reading from this long list of independent candidates, not just in the presidency, but also who are going for these other seats. Something is happening.
Yeah,
something is happening.
There is a wind of change, but surely,
Serfine,
we cannot do a 3-page ballot paper.
Let's leave that for the 9th of August. All right, now let us take you to Mombasa County. President Uhuru Kenyatta has challenged prosecutors and investigators across the African continent to rededicate themselves to combating transnational organized crime through collaborative innovations.
Speaking in Mombasa while opening the 4th Regional Conference of the National Association of Prosecutors, the head of state called for establishment of regional database to enhance information sharing.
Over 200 delegates comprising of attorney generals and prosecutors from 30 African countries are gathered in Mombasa to craft policies to tighten the justice systems so as to proactively combat transgressions.
Without integrity in our government officials and civil servants and politicians, you will not succeed in this battle. Integrity is the key. And we need to be able to look at ourselves straight in the eye. You know, you are independent. Talk to each other. That's part of learning. If you know your colleague is also not following the right path, it's your responsibility to point them out.
Globalization and technical advancements have fueled emerging threats such as transnational organized crime. While opening the 4-day conference, President Uhuru Kenyatta called for renewed commitment in combating transnational crimes that are estimated to cost the continent over 80 trillion shillings annually.
Noting the evolving nature of transnational crime, a regional approach to planning, budgeting, and execution of jointly agreed measures would significantly improve the efficiency of our response actions.
Uhuru called for a cross-border multi-agency approach supported by a regional database.
Preventing and containing transnational organized crime therefore demands a concentrated cooperative effort by all actors in the prevention, investigation, prosecution, and asset recovery segments of the justice chain.
Director of Public Prosecution Nordin Haji lauding strides made by Kenya in stemming corruption and call for concerted efforts by local and international state agencies for greater success.
We have committed ourselves to deepening our collaborations and cooperation in tackling transnational crimes through joint seminars, sharing of best practices, training, and establishment of mutual legal assistance and extradition frameworks.
The strength of governance institutions anywhere in the world is testament to the political will of the leaders of that country. We are here because of your leadership, because of the political will provided by the office of the president.
Juni Karisambele from Mombasa County.
And now, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential nominee Raila Odinga says his government will revive the implementation of the housing levy that was proposed by President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration but opposed by the Central Organization of Trade Unions, COTU.
Raila says the levy will be crucial in his bid to initiate massive infrastructural development in urban settlements across the country to avert a housing crisis occasioned by the rural-urban migration. Weekly Fokech reports from Kisumu County.
The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential nominee Raila Odinga says he has devised a wider plan to initiate massive transformation in urban settlements.
We need to come up with proper planned development. You've got shelter, yes. But then within it, you must also have schools where children are going to go. You must have also health facilities for treatment of the people. You must also have recreational facilities and also leisure facilities like clubs where people would relax in the day. This really should be made a part and parcel of the government policy.
To realize this, the former Prime Minister says he will seek to revive the housing levy that was proposed by the government of President Uhuru Kenyatta but shot down by the Atwoli-led Central Organization of Trade Unions.
It was a very good policy. A housing levy where the employee would be contributing 1.5%, the employer 1.5%, and that will go into a pool of a fund. That fund can enable us to roll out massive housing development in our country. I will talk to the trade union COTU, which led the opposition to introduction of that law. and the leadership, Mr. Tulia assured me they will cooperate with us.
Should the Azimio One Kenya political camp emerge victorious in the forthcoming general elections, Raila says his government will not spare anyone accused of grabbing public land.
In Nairobi, nearly 60% of the population live in slums. You have Kibera, you have Ukuru Kwanjenga, you have Madare, you have Kawangware, and so on. This is also seen here in Kisumu. There is a shortage of housing, formal housing. This is something that needs to be arrested and reversed.
Of investors acquiring large tracts of land, especially in urban areas, and waiting for the prices to escalate before selling them has greatly hindered provision of affordable housing. We hope that we can look into this matter with the National Assembly and ensure that land is not used for speculation, but for development.
And with less than 3 months left to the general polls, Raila implored his Nyanza backyard to ready themselves with requisite documents and vote to the last man to ensure he emerges victorious. For Prime Edition, I am Wycliffe Okech.
And moving on, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance presidential running mate nominee Martha Karua has pledged to fight graft and open up youth employment should the alliance form the next government.
Karua made the pledge during a campaign rally in Meru County to back support for Raila Odinga.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential running mate Martha Karua took her campaigns to Meru County Wednesday. Karua drumming up support for Raila Odinga, saying that the former premier has the vision to improve the country's economy if elected president.
Mimi nimemwona na kumjua Raila Amolo Odinga miaka mingi tangu tupiganie second liberation. Nimemwona akisimama na Wakenya, akiwa kwa serikali na akiwa nje ya serikali. Hiyo ni kumaanisha masilahi ya Mkenya iko ndani ya roho yake.
Karua also affirming the coalition's commitment to scale up the war against graft and create job opportunities for the youth.
Vijana wetu hawana ajira. Njaa iko. Tukiangalia hiyo mambo na tusukume wafisadi, njaa itaisha. Na ukumbuke serikali ya Raila inasema zile familia, zile maskini wa mwisho hawana namna. Kila familia itapata 6,000 kila mwezi, angalau wapate chakula.
Karua was accompanied by a section of leaders allied to the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance who vowed to work together to secure victory for the coalition come the August race.
Makiboko yao huko hapa anaenda kuongoza Justice Ministry, atengeneze sheria vizuri, wale wanapora mali ya Wakenya waweze kuchukuliwa hatua, na hiyo ni sawasawa. Na sisi tuongeze mambo ya kilimo, mambo ya viazi, mambo ya maziwa, mambo ya kahawa, mambo ya majani chai, mambo ya meniko na kila kitu. Kenya iende mbele. Sawa sawa.
Ate uchaguzi ikifanyika siku ya leo, atakayechukua usukani ni Raila Amolo Odinga.
Na wala wametumwa na posters kuya kuharibu kampeni ya Raila. Tunawayoni wala wamekanyanga kandoi na kandoi ingine.
Mimi nataka kuomba kwa heshima sana, tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 tuamke asubuhi mapema, sawa sawa. Mimi nataka kunionyesha kura za Raila na Martha. Tafadhali mnionyeshe, tuamke mapema.
The convoy made stopovers at Nanyuki Town, Timau Town, Makutano Junction, Meru, before heading to other parts of Tigania and Igembe in Meru County.
Watu wetu, wapinduru ya mama Martha Karua.
Let's continue keeping tabs on politics. And Deputy President William Ruto says the August polls will usher in a new leadership based on truth and development.
The Deputy President said the Kenya Kwanza Alliance was best placed to offer this kind of leadership.
He said the bottom-up economic model is the answer to Kenya's quest for economic growth. The Deputy President Wednesday was engaged in low-key campaigns, preferring to meet delegations in the current residence. The Deputy President accusing his opponents in Azimio of perpetrating the politics of deceit. Ruto says Kenyans should be wary and vote against those advancing what he calls the politics of conmanship.
In fact, the source of division in Kenya is the politics of deceit, conmanship of leaders against other leaders. That is how this country gets divided.
Ruto taking on Azimio for what he claims to be double-crossing.
You know, si Waswahili walisema ukiona mwenzako akinyolewa wewe anza kutia maji kwa kichwa. Wakenya wajihadhari.
Ruto has whipped his followers, claiming that the contest in August is already framed.
On the other side, we have people who are telling us about the past, yesterday and the past. In UDA and Kenya Kwanza, we are planning the present and the future.
Kura haijapigwa, rais hajachaguliwa, anapeana wizara ya fedha, wizara ya kilimo, wizara ya ardhi.
Sasa hii maneno inafanyika huko, sijui mmepewa, sijui running mate, sijui mmepewa. Sisi tulimpatia kura yote ya Pwani. Achana ati running mate, kura yote ya Pwani. Nini ametufanyia?
The Deputy President has called on Kenyans to back the bottom-up economic model, claiming the Kenya Kwanza team was keen on improving the welfare of households in the country. Time for us to take a breather. And you know, the running mate fever is on. So it would be safe to say you're my running mate.
And I humbly accept that. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we still are going to serve you more politics in our comprehensive news bulletin. Remember, you can continue engaging us on social media at KBC Channel 1, the hashtag Prime Edition.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
This could be you, your sister, brother, daughter, son, or a friend. Say no to gender-based violence. Report any form of violence to toll-free number 1195 or to the nearest police station. Be a hero and be safe. This message is brought to you by the Government of Kenya.
After 10 years, Machakos County is gearing up to elect a new governor. How well do you know the candidates and what do they have to offer? KBC Channel 1 has organized a gubernatorial debate for Machakos aspirants this Thursday, 19th May, live from Scott Christian University, Machakos, exclusively on KBC Channel 1.
Tulisikia maombi yenu. Saa hii nawaeleza ya kwamba KBC Channel 1 imeandaa Road Somurua. I'm telling you, it is coming to you.
Sisi tuko kwa mliango yako. Kwanza acha nikule kikombe ya chai.
Hata nimeta. Watu wa vipivi na watu wa vioja tuko mtaani kwenu sasa, nakwambia tutaonana mimi na wewe ana kwa ana.
Mama yangu alafu nikalipishe na mkate au sio?
You requested and the KBC has decided to deliver. What do I say?
Twaja na kuambiaje, kila mtaa utatuona. Hebu kosa uchekwe.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us.
All right, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua are the most preferred pair among voters at 39% if elections were to be held today.
According to the latest survey by research firm Tifa, Kenya Kwanza's William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua come second at 35%. Zainab Said now reports.
The naming of running mates by both Raila Odinga and William Ruto seemed to have affected their popularity among Kenyans. According to the latest polls by Tifa research firm, Deputy President William Ruto's popularity has decreased by 3% from 39% in April this year to 35% in May.
That 39% of our sample said that they would be voting for Raila Odinga as president, and Martha Karua as his running mate, and slightly fewer, 35%, said they would be voting for the deputy president and his running mate. And far, far fewer, just 2%, said, as of now, or as of yesterday, they would be voting for Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka.
While 14% of the respondents were undecided on who to vote for, Azimio la Umoja presidential flag bearer recorded popularity increase from 32% in April this year to 39% in May.
About 8% more men at the moment express support or voting intentions for Mr. Odinga and Ms. Karua than women. But that's not really because there's so many more women who are supporting the other main pair of candidates, but rather that among the undecided and among those who didn't give us an answer, there were so many more women. 19 versus 9 women versus men who were undecided, and 10 versus 5 who didn't answer the question.
According to Tifa, the Deputy President's Kenya Kwanza popularity in Mount Kenya is still higher at 37% compared to that of Azimio la Umoja at 24%.
Until just recently, the deputy president was saying, we don't need alliances or coalitions. UDA can go on its own. It was only when he managed to successfully invite Musalia Mudavadi and Senator Wetangula that he got Ford Kenya and ANC that he had to, build a bigger roof to fit everybody in. So I think the marketing of Azimio as a coalition has been going on for a bit longer.
Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who came in third, has a 2% Kenyan popularity. The survey conducted on 17th May of this year has a sample size of 1,719 respondents. For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
All right, moving away from politics, 2 people have died while 3 others have sustained minor injuries after a 2-story building collapsed at a Membli area of Ruiru in Kiambu County.
The casualties are said to have been collecting building material from the building that had been partially demolished by the Kenya National and Highways Authority to pave way for the expansion of the Eastern Bypass.
These were the scenes Wednesday morning at Membli area of Ruiru in Kiambu County. A 2-story building that had been partially demolished came tumbling down at 10 a.m. as an estimated 5 men were inside vandalizing construction material. It is said that land occupied by the building was to be used for the expansion of the Eastern Bypass, and the building was in the process of being demolished.
They want to put up a very big roundabout here, and unfortunately they could not complete that exercise yesterday. So today, before they could come, there were some few people who decided to go inside and get some metals and also need the building blocks, collect and sell.
Sisi hapa tulikuwa tukitafuta suma. Unaona? Sasa kila mtu alikuwa na kona yake. Kila mtu mahali anaenda kutolea ile suma. Sasa hii nyumba imekuja mara moja. Sasa mahali tu mtu alikuwa ndipo mtu ameenda akafinyiwa.
Ni uchumi walikuwa wanajitafutia. Serikali ilikuja from on Sunday na matrakta zao za serikali wakaanza kubomoa hii kitu. wakachukua zile vitu zilikuwa za dhamana, chuma nini, na walikuwa wanatuzuia tusiguze chochote. Lakini wenye wamekufa hapa ndani, wamekufa juu ya shilingi 10. Juu walikuwa wanatoa mawe, wanauza moja 10 bob.
And after hours of concerted efforts from a multi-agency team, the first body was retrieved from the rubble at 2:30 p.m. An hour later, the second body was retrieved. According to the area residents, 3 more people who were also in the building escaped with minor injuries after they were rescued by members of the public. The building was later safely brought down by the multi-agency teams on location.
As the area residents struggle to come to terms with the Wednesday morning occurrence, the government is cautioning them against going near such hazardous buildings to avoid similar incidences in the future. Nancy Okware, reporting for Prime Edition from Ruiru area, Kiambu County.
We start turning there. Let's turn to education matters now. And the Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, has raised concerns over the low number of students transiting to Form 1, especially in the informal settlements.
Magoha, who spoke in Kakamega County at the same time, called on the ministry's regional and sub-county directors to up their game in mopping up all the students who are yet to report to Form 1 under their jurisdiction.
Form 1 students were expected to have reported to their respective high schools by the 4th of May. Some children are, however, yet to report to their secondary schools, an issue that has not amused Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha.
Why are those children not in school? They should be mobbed and taken to school at peace point, not gunpoint.
Magoha, however, says needy students will be assisted on basis of the most deserving cases.
Those that really require assistance, we are going to follow with a few scholarships after the Limu scholarship, and we shall double check.
Speaking in Butere Girls High School, Kakamega County, on an inspection of the CBC classrooms, the education CS took issue with some education officials for taking advantage of the CBC project's money.
Why are you giving the ones where you know you are not going to build? And my staff, together with our teachers, together with our contractors, agree to loot the government. If you joke around, tutafunga wewe.
He said those found culpable will meet the full force of the law. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Now to Parliament, the ambassador nominee for Somalia, retired Major General Thomas Chepkuto, has called on Kenyans to change their perception on Somalia and invest in the country that got a new government just last week.
General Chepkuto, who is currently the deputy head of mission in Somalia, says that contrary to the misconception that it is a war-torn country, it's a fast-rising country. Our parliamentary reporter Gishuki Washira reports.
The final day of vetting ambassadorial nominees was an engagement between the National Assembly Defense and Foreign Relations Committee and 3 retired Major Generals nominated to head diplomatic missions. Retired Major General Thomas Chepkuto, currently the deputy head of mission in Somalia and now nominated to head the mission, spoke of Somalia's great potential as a key trade partner of Kenya, rising from the ashes of civil war and terrorism.
Strategies are given a chance to represent us in Somalia. What are you going to do to reverse that situation where we are not allowed to sell our miraa in Somalia?
The only way to mend this broken bridge is to cooperate with Somalia. We must cooperate. But already plans are underway because we have the goodwill of the business people and also the population, and therefore I'm optimistic. Come next week, we'll be in full business.
Hi, Major General George Owino.
Retired Major General George Owino, a lecturer at the Center for Defense Studies, was put to task on how he would revive the dwindling trade relations between Kenya and Uganda upon his posting to Kampala.
The feeling out there is that Kenya fears Uganda. Kenya cannot tackle Uganda head on. People are harassed in the whole lake region. You are going as a diplomat and your background is in the military. Give us an insight.
But I'm confident that the training and the experience that the military has given me, I can endure and I can propel much further. I'm also somebody who likes progressing in terms of knowledge. So I go out there, look at opportunities, learn, and trying to push this engagement.
Retired Major General Charles Gitwai, nominated to represent Kenya at the Intergovernmental Authority on Development for Eastern Africa, explained how he would safeguard Kenya's interest.
Most Kenyans feel that we have not really harvested much out of the existence of IGAD, and whether it is still serving the purpose that it was formed. Is there anything that you think needs to change, that you are going to change there as a new ambassador?
My appointment as a permanent representative to IGAD is a question. Is based on the fact that I've already been endorsed by IGAD Summit as chair of the what you call the Constituent Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission, and therefore my work will continue as chair to follow up on the issues of the monitoring and evaluating and overseeing the implementation of the agreement.
Other nominees who appeared before the committee include University of Nairobi lecturer Professor Richard Bosire, nominated to represent Kenya at the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, and Michael Oyugi, the envoy nominee to Spain. The National Assembly Defense and Foreign Relations Committee now retreats to Mombasa to prepare a report on the ambassadorial nominees that will be tabled on Tuesday next week for consideration by the House. Reporting from Parliament, I'm Geshoke Washira.
Now we get to our segment of cinemas and theatre, and a former student is desperate to join a school music group but faces discrimination from senior boys who run the affairs of a talent group.
His persistence, however, leads him to uncover a cartel of selfish members. Does he eventually make it?
Here now is the review of the film Mwanga in our weekly segment, Cinemas and Theatre.
The film Mwanga follows the struggles of a former student who, in his attempt to join a music group,
nimekuja kuregister sir.
Kuregister?
Ndio sir. Registration fee. Hii hapa.
Is discriminated against by senior boys in the school who, as he realizes, calls the shots.
Uchwani, uko down sana.
What else do you want me to do? I've washed for you, cleaned for you, and even paid you.
Hiyo ndo inaitwa due process.
His persistence to be part of the group leads him to uncover the cartels that run the group for selfish interests.
Hey! Mamaliza kazi?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, sir.
Good.
The film is shot and directed by One Film Pictures.
We wanted to talk about social responsibility in the community. If you kind of look at the film with a third eye, you'd see that the film really talks about challenges or some of the things that really happen in the society, like guys trying to curtail a particular sector or industry and trying to make or extort money from whoever is involved in the practice. So it was portrayed through art.
You know my shine kushine, eh?
That's why they call me Mwanga. Jack Shine.
Jugunanganga, the film producer, notes that auditioning for the roles in the film was not an easy task, especially casting from a group of high school students.
We first did the audition. Being an institution, we had about 200 students, more than 200 students. But we landed on Mwanga because we saw a story that would take us through the end.
In total, the film has secured 8 nominations in the Kalasha Awards. But how was it like managing a shoot where the cast is made of students?
It was rather a learning curve, even for me as a director, to having to explain everything to the cast. But they were quick, they're students, so they were quick to learn and they actually outdid the script.
We used a strategy that was unique because we interacted with them like students. So we mostly interacted with them, we had them all the time, and so it was easy for them to know us and to be open to us.
Nataka kwanza group yangu.
Shule itatutambua
tutachallenge kinagadi, then tukishinda tutarepresent shule.
David Waronjo, the film director, notes that the film industry has improved and is now supporting the sprouting of new talents in the industry.
Film has come a long way from when we started. I remember we used to see the same faces on TV and even in festivals. It's commendable to the Kenya Film Commission for spearheading that kind of change and encouraging young filmmakers through their various incentives like the My Kenya My Story mobile phone film competition.
Our reputation has been challenged. Yes, sir. It has been challenged and questioned. Yes, sir. We cannot compete against those roaches. No, sir. We cannot stoop to their level. No, sir. That is like admitting we are weak. Sir. Are we weak? No, sir. So here's what we are going to do.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
It's Mwanga.
Cinemas and Theatre. Brought to you by the Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya, Capture Africa.
Boresha maisha na bima. Maisha hayatabiriki, huenda kukawa na panda shuka. Iwapo utashindwa kulipia bima yako malipo ya kila mwezi, usiwe na wasiwasi. Zungumza na kampuni inayokupa huduma za bima ili ubadilishe bima yako kuwa bima iliyolipiwa tayari. Hutahitajika kuendelea kulipa malipo ya kila mwezi, japo kampuni inayokupa huduma za bima bado itawajibika kukulipa faida unayostahili katika chaguo hili. Pata bima ili kuhakikisha yote yatakuwa sawa.
Our arts and entertainment industry has evolved over the years.
It is at such times that our destinies are written. Will we rise up in courage or die in cowardice?
Who are the movers and shakers in film and theatre? Get trendy as we review locally produced films and stage drama every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Cinemas and Theatre.
Brought to you by the Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya, Capture Africa.
Now change gears and now focus on today's business and news. My name is Caroline Jenga. Now less than half of government ministries, departments and agencies are keeping their books of accounts in compliance with auditing standards. This is according to the latest Office of the Auditor General's report for the year 2020-2021, which indicates that 54% of government institutions material misstatements or omissions in their financial statements. As Regina Manyara narrates, none of the county governments is adhering to auditing standards when it comes to accounting for the use of cash from public coffers.
The auditing process of national and county government institutions involves auditing the books of accounts to establish if they have been kept according to auditing standards. Compliance audit checks if resources have been used lawfully, and performance audit to check the impact the use of the resources has had.
That we look at whether, even if everything has been accounted for, has been recorded, has been presented well in the financial statements, were the funds used lawfully? Was the use of those funds effective? Was there change? Was there impact in the lives and livelihoods of the people?
The Office of the Auditor General has completed auditing books of account for government ministries, departments and agencies, establishing that just 46% of them had their financial statements prepared in compliance with audit standards, with 50% of them having a qualified opinion because the financial statements had misstatements or omissions which were not widespread.
And that simply means that presentation and disclosure of the operations is spot on in the financial statements. But that's not the most important thing when it comes to auditing the public sector. It is not about balancing of figures. It is not about 2 + 2 = 4. It is about what did that 4 do.
In the devolved units, none of the 47 county executives were meeting auditing standards, but 6% of county assemblies were keeping their books according to standards.
The county executives, if you look at 15, 16, 16, 17, we could not issue any clean opinion. We only had 13 that had qualified, and this has grown to 41. Qualified, as I said, may not have been something to celebrate, but we can celebrate a little that now we have moved away from adverse to disclaimer at the county level to at least auditable financial statements that can give us qualified opinion.
She made the remarks during a meeting with the Kenya Editors Guild and the launch of the first Kiswahili audit report.
And I hope the translation is not just in language, but also in the notions contained therein, so that Wanjiku, as we call the common person, can associate and actually get meaning when they get to receive those reports.
Hivyo, kwa niaba ya Ofisi ya Taifa ya Ukaguzi Tanzania na Watanzania wote, napenda kutoa pongezi za dhati kwa mkaguzi mkuu Sipei Kadhungu, watangulizi wako, pamoja na wafanyakazi wote Ofisi ya Mkaguzi Mkuu kwa maana SAI Kenya, kwa kufanikisha adhima yenu ya kutoa ripoti ya Kiswahili mkiwa na lengo la kuwafikishia taarifa watu wengi zaidi.
Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
Moving on, farmers have been advised to reduce the use of antibiotics in livestock production to increase their export volumes. The World Animal Protection Organization says the high use of antibiotics in animal production in the Kenyan market is compromising the country's food safety.
In January this year, the European Union introduced a law that banned the routine feeding of farmed animals with antibiotics. The ban spelled out when and how antibiotics should be administered to livestock as the market stepped up its food safety efforts. Players in the livestock production say the new law will further lock out Kenyan livestock products from accessing the EU market as most livestock keepers overuse antibiotics.
The second reason why factory farmings are not acceptable is because of the massive number of chemicals that are used. Those chemicals that are used in that production system end up having residues in the food, and that then causes illness when people then consume that food.
World Animal Protection say commercial livestock farming in the country is usually done in small spaces that increase diseases and ultimately result in use of unprescribed antibiotics to treat livestock.
Good care of animals during the production chain, that will really reduce the need for antibiotics. AMR is a key concern globally. Basically, is termed a silent pandemic.
Farmers have been warned that their animal product might not be allowed in multinational fast foods and retail franchise setting based in the country, as more countries are contemplating imposing a ban on caged animal products.
All brands tend to have standards on animal welfare, standards on antibiotic use, standards on food safety.
The organization wants the government to only license commercial production of livestock to individuals with large farms to minimize disease spread and increase food safety. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Reforms in the coffee subsector are running into headwinds after the Senate put the coffee bill debate on hold until a mediation team is formed. The Senate says the National Assembly made amendments to the bill that stripped off the role of the county government to license coffee value chains players and weakened the ability of farmers to sell their coffee directly.
Coffee farmers will now have to wait a little bit longer before changes in the coffee sector are instituted. The Senate has shelved the coffee bill that had gone through the National Assembly until a mediation team from both houses is constituted to resolve issues surrounding the marketing of coffee and the role of county governments in licensing marketing agents. According to the Senate Committee on Agriculture, the National Assembly still gave millers powers to market coffee on behalf of farmers and stripped off the county governments power to license value chain players.
Marketers. We have had an opportunity as a committee to visit one marketer in the United States. In fact, a roaster called Joffrey's in Florida. And he showed us his invoices and receipts. The last time he had bought coffee from Kenya, he had paid $1,200 a bag. Can you imagine? Now, how much is the farmer getting here? Farmer will be lucky to get $300 of that same bag.
Early this week, the Council of Governors wrote to the Ministry of Agriculture to protest the amendments to the Coffee Regulations 2019 that stripped off the county government's power to license millers and instead leaving the licensing to the Agriculture and Food Authority.
I want to call upon the Senate to take its rightful position of protecting devolution as envisaged in Article 96. Because, and the Ministry of Agriculture must be told that it is only policy that they retain at national level. Any other part of implementation must be given to counties to do that, and such as licensing, and they must be given that power.
The Senate also claims the National Assembly amendments also weaken the ability of farmers to sell their beans directly to buyers.
After they found their own market, then the ministry has been, and that is why they want to reverse these things, that they have been putting barriers to getting them get direct licenses to export their coffee to wherever they want.
The Senate wants the direct settlement system put in place to assist farmers to access money from their coffee immediately after sales. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Benson, for that report. Now, moving on to the corporate scene, Kenya Power plans to complete the hiring process for managing director in the next 3 months. The company says the shortlisting process is currently ongoing, where the qualified candidate will be announced by the board. This comes after the utility firm appointed Geoffrey Waswa as the new acting managing director, sending Rosemary Oduor back to her previous position as the general manager for commercial services and sales. Oduor has been the acting MD since August last year. Here are the details of that story and more.
Amid an ongoing process to recruit a substantive managing director, Kenya Power has issued a notice to shareholders involving them in management changes. The firm says it has appointed Geoffrey Waswa Muli as the new acting managing director to replace Rosemary Oduor, who held the position in a similar capacity. It is said that Rosemary will return to her previous role as the general manager, commercial services and sales after returning to the office after her annual leave. Meanwhile, the Tourism Fund is seeking 1.9 billion shillings to complete the construction of the Ronald Ngala Utalii College and Hotel in Kilifi County, which started in the year 2010. The project was to be completed in the year 2018 at a cost of 4.9 billion shillings, but the cost has been rising as it faces delays. Construction of the Ronald Ngala Utalii College has stalled due to delays in disbursement of funds to contractors and the high cost of construction materials.
We've meant to understand that money was actually released. It was released in December. So our question and our concern is, why has this money not been released to TF so that this project can actually be fast-tracked and completed on time?
The phase one that we are intending to complete by August will require about 1.9 billion Kenya shillings, because we have certificates from the contractors which must be honored, and also from the consultants who are supervising this work. And after completing that, there will be a requirement of a further 2.1 billion shillings to complete the rest of the project, which has not been done. By the time we really complete it, in the next 1 or 2 years, it should cost us about 10 to 11 billion Kenya shillings.
Elsewhere, UAP Old Mutual Group is rebranding to Old Mutual in phases for its regional operations. Old Mutual Kenya CEO Arthur Oginga says East Africa is growing as a regional investment and business hub.
This new dawn heralds the bringing together of three great brands, Old Mutual, UAP, Faulu, under one consolidated structure. This will drive our strategy around integrated financial services and make it much easier and seamless for our customers.
After Kenya, the firm plans to rebrand in Uganda, South Sudan and Tanzania in phases that will be completed in 2023.
Branding ourselves Old Mutual in Kenya puts our reputation on the line in terms of our commitment to this market and our wish to make a long-term meaningful impact in the market in Kenya and to add value to Kenyan consumers over time.
Reporting for Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
A roundup brings to a close business news for tonight. Monga is up next with the sports updates. Have a good night. My name is Caroline Jenga.
They came, saw and scored their way to the DFB Pokal final. Germany's valiant rivals, SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig, are a heartbeat away from lifting the ultimate trophy of which none has ever won. SC Freiburg are still hopeful of winning their first major title in club history. Meanwhile, RB Leipzig have reached two of the last three DFB Pokal finals, losing 3-0 to Bayern Munich in 2019 and 4-1 to Dortmund in 2021. It is therefore a moment of truth for these finalists.
So 5 from 6 this season, make that 6 from 7. 35 minutes gone, 3-0 Freiburg. This is history in the making.
As we reveal the identity of 2021-2022 DFB Pokal champion, keep a close eye on this grandest match between SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig on Saturday, the 21st of May 2022 at 9 p.m. live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
After 10 years, Machakos County is gearing up to elect a new governor. How well do you know the candidates and what do they have to offer? KBC Channel 1 has organized a gubernatorial debate for Machakos aspirants this Thursday, 19th May, live from Scott Christian University, Machakos, exclusively on KBC Channel 1.
Oh, good evening, and as always, it is an honor to have your company for KBC Sports with me, Richard Munga. Now, National Wheelchair Basketball 3x3 women's team for the 2022 Commonwealth Games has been named. The Kenyan team qualified for the Games after the National Olympic Committee of Kenya application for bipartite allocation was granted by the Commonwealth Games Federation.
In supporting the participation of Commonwealth athletes and supporting athletes' performance pathway, the Commonwealth Games Federation allocated Kenya with a special invitation place in the female category. Speaking after the great news, the team manager Alfred Simiyu expressed his excitement, saying that they will deliver stellar performance.
We need to bear in mind that wheelchair basketball has classification, and these classes has points. So you find that the three players that are in the field, they are supposed to add up to 8.5 points.
The team has been training together with their male counterparts at the Nyayo National Stadium in preparation for the games. The team travelled for qualification in November 2021, where they beat DRC, Gambia and Tanzania 50-43, 45-40 and 48-25 respectively, with their only disappointment being an 80-35 loss to South Africa. Those who made the team to the games include Rael Akoth, Caroline Wanjira, Eunice Otieno and Stella Cherop. The team will be assisted in the camp by Phyllis Nyambura, Beth Wanja, Joyce Ambassa and Anne Washuka as sparring partners. Meanwhile, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya today presented 11 elite athletes with Olympic scholarships. The scholarships are aimed to supporting the athletes in their preparation and qualification for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games.
These funds might be brought your way with the good intentions to make sure that you perform better, you improve better. But unless you have personal discipline, I will repeat that, unless you have personal discipline, you never break the ceiling.
It means a lot, especially since becoming an Olympian is my major dream. So I believe this will give me a chance to prepare for the qualifiers and also perform well, because I believe many players, when they venture into sports, one of their dreams is to play the Olympics.
Swimming maestro Rofasio Danilo leads the scholarship awardees list alongside Angela Oktoi, the first Kenyan girl to win a junior Grand Slam at the 2022 Australian Open at the age of 17. Brian Mutua of table tennis, Alexander Kiprotich of javelin, Samuel Muturi of rowing and Pris Kamburu of sports shooting also made to the list.
Well, congratulations are in order, and of course for Team Kenya as they prepare to participate in the Commonwealth Games that will be held in Birmingham. Now moving on to other matters, Football Kenya Federation Premier League matches that are set for this weekend will proceed as earlier planned, according to FKF Transition Committee member in charge of leagues and competitions, Liam Moore. Meanwhile, it's all systems go as the ultimate showdown in the 2022 Johnny Walker Golf Series, dubbed Road to Glen Eagles, is set to take place this weekend at the Karen Country Club.
FKF Transition Committee member in charge of leagues and competition, Alia Moore, has reiterated the committee's mandate to deliver a well-run league whose culmination is due 4 weeks' time. It's a 3-horse race for Tassel to win the 2021-2022 top flight title, with Kakamega Homeboys defending champions Tusker and Bandari all scrabbling for the top prize. Bandari, who beat Viga Bullets last Sunday, had closed the gap on joint leaders Tusker and Kakamega Homeboys to 3 points, with 4 matches left till the end of the season. Meanwhile, it's all systems go to the ultimate showdown in the 2022 Johnny Walker Golf Series, which is set to take place this weekend at the Karen Country Club. This will be the 20th and the final event of the Johnny Walker Golf Series calendar that kicked off in November 2021 and which has seen over 3,000 golfers participating across 18 golf clubs in the country. 25 teams of 4 who qualified to play from the Eagles round semi-finals held last weekend at the Muthaiga Golf Club are expected to battle it out for the ultimate honor of being crowned the overall series champions. At stake is a fully paid trip to the iconic Glen Eagles golf course in Scotland for the winning team. Elsewhere, KCB women's volleyball team will take part in the African Club Championship in Tunisia beginning tomorrow to 1st June 2022. The 14-player team, which will be captained by Edith Wisa, will leave the country tomorrow morning and is expected to kickstart their campaign this weekend and will join Kenya Prisons and Kenya Pipeline in the competition. Finally, the National Rugby Sevens team Shujaa will be out to improve its placing on the standing of the World Rugby Sevens circuit at the 7th round of the series in Toulouse, France. The Sevens team left the country Tuesday ahead of Toulouse this weekend. Shujaa will open its Group B quest against 4 times champions and 6th-ranked Fiji tomorrow before taking on host France. Kenya, under the tutelage of newly appointed head coach Damian McGray, will play Wales on Saturday in their final group encounter. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Well done, Mwendo, right there. Thank you very much for that report. Now to other matters. FIA Junior World Rally Championship rookie Mikray Kimathi will be co-driven by Stuart Lawden at Vodafone Rally in Portugal that kicks off tomorrow. East African youngster Kimathi made his junior debut at Rally Sweden in February, where he was co-driven by fellow Kenyan Mwangi Kioni. The pair also contested the Croatian Rally but retired on the final day. Kioni will step aside for round 3 of the championship this week as Lawden takes charge. Well, that's all the time we had for sports tonight. Just a reminder, the Europa League final, of course, is at 10 p.m. That is Eintracht Frankfurt from Germany taking on Scottish side Rangers. For the results, of course, and other sports highlights, be sure to stay tuned into KBC's subsequent bulletins. I'm Richard Munga. Do have a good night. Kioria and Serfine, take it away.
Absolutely. What he said.
Those matches. Time for us to put a cap on Prime Edition. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, we really appreciate it, and thank you so much once again. Remember, don't go too far. It is Wednesday, and on this day, the rave is coming up. Weekend starts early right here on KBC Channel 1, so keep watching. That is coming up next. But for now, from us, it's a wrap. Have a good night.
Have yourself a good night. My name is John Jacob Kioria, and thanks to Lensa Odingo, our sign language interpreter. Good night. Enjoy the reggae.